Hi guys, my name is Vlad. I'm a realtor with the Purple Tree Group in Toronto, Ontario. Today I want to have a conversation about selling a home on your own. This is an important topic. A lot of people are considering this and or going through the process. And I want to give you tips and tricks that will help you avoid most common mistakes that those sellers make. There are only 3 reasons that people end up selling on their own. The first one, and it's the biggest one by far, it's kind of an obvious one, people want to save on the commission. 50% of the sellers that sell themselves sell because they want to save. Second is people get approached by a friend or a relative that likes the area and they end up having a transaction. 30% of the people sell themselves because they're selling within the family or to a close friend of theirs. And lastly, 7% of the people get approached by a buyer directly. Next thing that happens, there's an offer on the table, they negotiate the price and the terms, and the deal is wrapped up. No agents are involved, so they end up selling themselves. I don't want to focus so much on the reasons why people are ending up selling themselves. Instead, I want to talk about, as I said, common pitfalls and problems that you may encounter in the process. I'm going to give you a few points and stick around to the end of the video. I'm going to give you one bonus point at the very end of this video as well, which is very important. All right, so the first thing that we need to talk about is that there are only 2 ways of going about selling your home by owner. One way is when you have or want to have a completely private deal. You don't have an agent representing you on the listing side, so there is no listing agent, and you don't want to work with buyers that are represented by agents either. This way you can avoid paying commission altogether, and this, in the minds of many, provides the highest level of savings. The second way is to involve buyers that are represented by agents and be prepared to pay them 2.5% to 3% commission. And there's a good reason for that. According to the National Association of Realtors, NAR, 88% of buyers do work with realtors. So by including them, you're including most of the market. And if you exclude 88%, well, in that case, you'll be only working with 12% of the remaining buyers that will be able to see your home and submit offers on your home. The choice is yours. All right, so whether you've decided to work with all the buyers represented by agents and you're ready to pay them 2.5% to 3%, the thinking there is you will increase your pool of potential buyers, you increase the number of eyeballs on the house, and thus your chances of selling it in a shorter period of time for more money are higher, or you want to stick to the second approach and not pay anything to anybody, have a direct communication between the seller and the buyer and negotiate the contract without involving agents or paying commission. Doesn't matter, you still have to do some homework before you start this process. The very first thing you need to do is you need to make sure that you know your area stats. You need to know days on market. That's an important characteristic of the dynamic of the neighborhood. You need to know average sales prices. You need to know what property types are selling and have sold. You need to know their prices, and you need to know what homes you're competing against. So what's on the market right now. All right, now that you've learned and internalized what's happening in the area in terms of the area statistics, you need to put a price tag on your home. And the process for that is very straightforward. You find a house just like yours in the same area that sold in the past 3 to 6 months and say, okay, if that house sold for X, my house should sell for X plus or minus the market appreciation between the sale of that home and today. As we all know though, no 2 homes are exactly the same. Even if you're looking at a subdivision where all homes look the same from the outside, they're all different. Different upgrades from the builder, corner lot versus a lot in the middle of a block, finished basement versus unfinished basement. There's a lot of variety. And there are specific things that are very important for you to pay attention to. The first one being the lot size, particularly the frontage of the house. It's a lot more important than the depth, and it fetches more money than the depth. So when comparing homes, compare on the basis of the frontage first and the depth second. You need to look at the interior dimensions of the home. You need to look at the number of bedrooms versus the other house that you're comparing it to. Number of washrooms, same deal. Various features like finished basement, walkout from the basement, and exposure. Exposure can make or break the price for you, or the price that you're thinking for you. The negative exposures and the positive exposures. So if your home is backing on a ravine or a forest, or it's otherwise extremely private, they can easily add 7 to 10% to the price of your house. If your house is backing on a major highway, construction site, or railway road, it can easily subtract 7 to 10% from the price of your home. So you got to be mindful about that. There are some things that are easy to overlook that you wouldn't know without having the experience. So again, tread it carefully. If As an example, your street has a sidewalk and the street that is parallel to yours doesn't, most likely your home will fetch more money just because of the presence of that sidewalk. So be mindful of that as well. Basic formula for deciding on the price of your home is that you take the base price, you add or subtract any features of the home as compared to the most close comparable that had sold in the past 3 to 6 months, and you get the price for your home accurately. Okay, now that you've seen what's happening in your area, you know the competition, you know what had sold, you've decided on the price of your home, it's time for you to start thinking about marketing and how you're going to promote that property of yours to the potential buyers. The first venue for this, and this is the most powerful one, is of course MLS exposure. However, in order for you to put your property up on MLS, you need to hire a broker. We're not talking about hiring a full service agent, certainly not within this conversation. So to put it up there, you'd need to hire a discount brokerage that can do this for a fixed fee. And there's a couple of options. You can go with somebody like Property Guys or Purple Bricks. They will do that for you for a fixed fee. They have a menu with different options, but negotiations in the end are most likely going to be on you. Marketing and promoting the property is going to be on you. Showings are going to be on you. So it's still for sale by owner, but you have this added bonus of an MLS exposure. What do they give you? Aside from all the pros, all the real estate agents looking on MLS, this is the biggest exposure by far. You'll get your property to consumer-facing portals like Realtor.com, Realtor.ca, Zillow, and a bunch of others. Your home will also appear on the internal inter-brokerage portals. So in our area, what's widely used is BrokerBay. So again, it's automatic without you or the agent having to do anything. Once it's up on MLS for that fixed fee, it will appear in all those consumer portals automatically. It will also appear in the professional portals like BrokerBay automatically as well. If you do have a few people in your phone book that might potentially be interested in your home, it makes sense to reach out to them and tell them that your home is for sale. Tell them about the important features of the home and the price point. They might be your buyer. You may want to consider posting social media ads, specifically Facebook, Google, and even possibly YouTube, where you can put up a video of your home walkthrough so that people can see the most important features from your standpoint. If you've done a recent renovation, it's important to showcase that as well and show people what they're going to be buying by providing them with good photos or high quality videos. Yard signs and directional signs are important as well. A lot of people that are driving by will see it, they will make a phone call, and you might have a transaction from somebody that was just passing your home on the street or passing one of the signs on the street. A lot of people opt for advertising on Kijiji or Craigslist, and it's kind of a mixed bag. A lot of agents end up advertising their listings there too, so you never know whether the listing that's posted on Kijiji is actually for sale by owner or it's represented by an agent. So a lot of agents are calling around listings that are posted on Kijiji as well, and if you are on the receiving end and you're getting 20 calls from agents in the first hour of the morning right after you posted, it gets old very quickly. You get frustrated very quickly within a week. You won't want to pick up the phone anymore. And of course, the more of those marketing pillars or marketing rungs that you use in your marketing strategy, the more of an exposure you're going to give to your property, the more eyeballs are going to be on the property. You increase the pool of potential buyers, and you increase your chances of selling within a shorter period of time and attracting a buyer that is willing to pay the highest price. Now that we're done with the preliminaries, we've looked at the neighborhood and the neighborhood statistics, we've looked at the price of the home and established it with accuracy, we looked at the marketing strategy and decided, at least in broad strokes, as far as what we want to do, it's time to start prepping for fielding the calls. Once you put your home on the market, calls will be coming in. There's going to be a lot of them. A lot of the calls are going to be coming in from agents. A lot of the calls are going to be coming in from buyers. And here is what's important. When you call a typical for sale by owner, they either don't pick up the phone or they respond very quickly with, please text me, I'll be able to call you back at lunch. So if you call somebody at 10 a.m. in the morning, they will only call you back during the lunch hour or after work, after 5. Think about how many things can happen with that buyer between the time that they call and the time that you call them back and have that conversation. Again, we can go to NAR, National Association of Realtors, and I'm telling you with certainty that if you don't call that buyer and have a conversation with them, within the first 5 minutes of them calling you, your chances of converting that buyer into somebody who actually pays the money for your home drop by 80%. So if you can't attend to the phones at any hour of the day, make sure that you enlist someone who can weave somewhat of a sales related conversation with the potential buyers that are calling from within your family. Get somebody that you know that can field the phone calls. If you've done your job right to date and you've accurately established what's going on in your area, you put an accurate price tag on your home, and you've marketed it correctly, offers will start coming in. And when they do, you'll have decisions to make. Of course, the best scenario is when you have a few offers on the table at the same time. This way people compete against one another, they get emotionally attached to the property, and you can drive the price literally through the roof. It doesn't happen all the time. Certainly it's more of a challenge with for sale by owner properties, but it does happen. Second option, of course, is you have a single offer that you have to negotiate one-on-one, and regardless of whether you're working with multiple offers or a single offer, you going through the same sequence of steps essentially every time. So the first thing you want to do is you want to look at the first page of the agreement of purchase and sale for a few important variables there. First one to pay attention to, of course, you're going to look at the price, of course. So this is the most important consideration. At the same time, probably the second thing you want to look at is the irrevocability date of the offer. What it tells you is when the offer is going to expire and become null and void. So there's no going back to it after that time. And whatever thinking you have to do, whatever decisions you need to make, have to happen within the time of you receiving the offer and the offer expiring. You also need to know the deposit that they bring. You need to know the closing dates. And once you're done with that first page and you looked at every single number there, you can scoop over to Schedule A, which is normally after page 7. So on Schedule A, you will have other terms and conditions attached to the offer. There could be conditions on financing, there could be conditions on inspections, and various others that the buyer want to include to protect them. So you have to read through those very carefully and see if they're suitable for you, for your purposes, for your time frames, and for your expectations on the money as well. It is very important that you ask a buyer questions. If you don't have direct access to a buyer and you're working with the buyer through an agent, you have to ask those questions from the agent. Ask them why they're buying this home in particular. Understand what the reasoning is. Are they buying it as a family residence? Is that an investment? And if it is a family residence, then they will be more emotionally attached to that, and you can drive a harder bargain than if they were buying it as an investment. Ask them about their financial standing, how much money they can put as a down payment. Normally, it's 5%, but you can ask for 7 or 10, especially if the closing is 90 to 120 days out, and see what they say. How do they feel about shelling out 10% of the value of the property once the offer gets accepted? Have in-depth conversation with either the buyer or the buyer's agent. Ask those questions because there's going to be a lot of implications that you will need to sit back and analyze once you've had those conversations, and that will help you formulate the strategy with the particular buyer. Can you drive the price higher? Can you change the closing date to something that is more acceptable to you? Can you remove the conditions on the property, specifically the financing conditions, so you feel safer? Are they going to be able to close? And that's an assessment that you need to make when you talk to them. All that is super important when negotiating offers. Okay, now to the bonus point. Here it is. The National Association of Realtors, NAR, gives us a lot of information related to real estate sales. They give us a lot of information that is specific to for sale by owners as well. So let's talk about general information first. Where do buyers find homes? 50% of the buyers find their homes through the internet. 28% of the buyers find their homes through an advisor real estate agent, and 7% through the outside signage. The remaining 14% is not exactly clear from the NAR article. So what it's telling us is that 50% of the buyers find their homes through the internet, and that is where the emphasis needs to be when you're thinking about the marketing strategy. That's the first thing. NAR provides us with another interesting piece of information, and that has to do with the prices of the sold homes by owner versus prices of the sold homes by agents. And the difference is 24%. So it seems that for sale by owners, FSBOs shortchange themselves on the sale. And the reason for that is that they make a sequence of mistakes. They don't establish the price point for their home correctly. They don't know what's going on in the area, even if they've lived there for the last 20 years. They only utilize 1 to 2 marketing pillars as opposed to using all 6 or 7 of them. And most importantly, they don't know how to negotiate effectively, especially if they're negotiating with a relative. So remember, a bunch of people are buying homes, end up buying homes that from people that are related to, and in that case it's very difficult to negotiate a good price. So Be careful with this process. There's a lot of money at stake. Those agreements are binding when they come in, so don't approach this process willy-nilly, and it's better to lose an offer than to rush into something and then regret it looking back. So guys, that's about it. Hit the like button, consider subscribing. I would like to engage you in the comment section below, so please comment. We'll have a conversation there, and I'm looking forward to seeing you again next week.